thumbnail. We have spoken about this case several times. If you've watched the show, then you would have heard me talk about it. Lilie James is the school teacher who was murdered in Sydney by her jealous or obsessive ex-boyfriend at St. Andrew's Cathedral School about a year or so ago. And there's some more information that has come out through the New South Wales Coroner's Court over the last couple of days. So we're going to have a look at it. So I'm going to I spent like an hour trying to learn to pronounce this. So let's see if I can do it. The guy who is the responsible, he's no longer alive. He ended his existence after the crime. And his last name is Thizen. I can't pronounce it properly, but apparently that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, it's a Dutch last name. So I'm going to show that to you in a minute. I just want to load that up. We'll have another crack at that Erin Patterson recap. Yesterday, I was very unhappy with the way the show went. Losing all my notes like just before the show was like the icing on the cake for a really crappy show. It was really annoying having to try and run the show with limited background, which I can do, but it jumps around a little bit. All right. So we got that, this. Sorry, guys, I'm just trying to grab my different articles for you. Okay. All right. Good to see you. Yeah, good to see all of you again as well. Hope you're having a great Wednesday out there, or Thursday if you're in Australia. All right, let me take you over here. So Lilie James seemed like a very nice young lady. Says here, chilling footage shows ex-boyfriend waiting outside bathroom with hammer before murdering Lilie James. That is just creepy. That is very creepy. There's also some footage of him purchasing the hammer as well. Let's see if I can show you that. So they're like, we have CCTV, but not in this article. That's good because I have a different article that does have it. I have many articles. All right, here we go. So this is him. This is him seen in the hardware store. So this is the before he went to kill her. He's testing out hammers in the in the aisle. He's like testing them for weight and oh, this one's got a good feel to it. Like that is very creepy for someone who went and used it on his ex-girlfriend. All right, let's play. It's only like 40 seconds. So he's in this bottom corner here. They've blurred the rest of it. You can see him in that aisle. He's like, yeah, I think this hammer would be great. There he goes. Testing the weight out, like weighted hammer. Oh, this one's a little too heavy. It's very Goldilocks. It's very Goldilocks. So it's a bit creepy. Watching this guy pick out this hammer that he's going to go murder his ex-girlfriend with because he's so. And here's the other footage. This is him rehearsing. So this is him doing sort of like a dry run of what he's going to do to Lilie James in the future. He's testing his sight angles. He's like looking who might see. If I go through here, what happens? It is brutal. This wasn't like a...
We come home. Yeah.
It wasn't like a spur of the moment thing. This guy planned it to the letter. And there's a photo of Lilie for you. Planned it, rehearsed it, and then put it into action. And beat her to death with a hammer, which is just a brutal way of killing. I think any way of killing someone is pretty brutal, but a hammer is just I well, it just seems cruel for no reason. It's like, I want to inflict the most pain as possible, so I'm gonna do it slowly with a hammer. So, it says here, Miss James, 21, had ended her casual 2-month relationship with Paul, 5 days before she killed 5 days before she was killed in the bathroom, and that was at St Andrew's Cathedral School in Sydney on October 25th, 2023. They say in new material released by the New South Wales Coroner's Court on Thursday, CCTV shows Paul on a practice run outside the bathroom at 1:30 p.m. on October 25th, about 6 hours before he did murder Lilie James. Says here, never before CCTV shows him waiting outside the bathroom just before killing Miss James that evening and buying a hammer and duct tape from a Mitre 10 hardware store near the school 2 days before the murder. It's awful. Let me take you to a video from just the day before the coronial inquest here.
Parent should ever have to do this, facing an inquest to hear in excruciating detail the planning involved in their daughter's death. 21-year-old Lilie James bashed with a hammer by her former boyfriend and colleague while at work. The preparation was calculated. It was not a momentary loss of control. It was a premeditated killing that Paul Tyson carried out inside a bathroom at St Andrew's School. Paul carefully planned his attack, and that in the hours before the attack, he rehearsed the attack, making a number of dry runs. Security video from St Andrews shows Paul testing 2 bathroom doors that night, placing a cleaning sign outside one to force Lilie into the other. Both sports coaches at the school, the pair had been in a casual relationship for several weeks before she decided to end it. They were recorded arguing 6 days before her death, Paul grabbing Lilie's shoulders and pushing her towards a wall. He then began stalking her. Paul used a go-get car to drive to Lilie's home in Sydney South 4 times in 2 days, taking photos of vehicles parked outside. He was then captured on security camera at a city hardware store, testing out hammers before buying one and duct tape. The next afternoon, he watched Lilie get off a train at Aliwal Station, following her home. That evening, he returned to her house twice.
When you hear those details, it basically seems like, all DV is bad. This is like the extreme end. It has multiple components, including stalking, obsessional OCD type behavior, and controlling behavior too. It's crazy. Like for something that this wasn't like, it doesn't make it any better, but this wasn't like a 10-year relationship that broke down. You could at least go, well, there's a lot of history and there's a lot of people get angry and they get very emotional. But this was 2 months. This was nothing. It's not even a relationship. Like it's mentioned, it was a casual sort of like situationship. It's not really like a long-term romance or anything. Not that that makes it any better if it was, but at least you would have some explanation because of the emotions involved. But this one, you have no, like, the only thing you can come to is that he was obsessed with her, and when she pushed him away, he was like, "Well, I can't accept that," and went from 0 to 100 in about, I don't know, like a couple of months. It's really frightening. Mamma Mia says that was fast too fast. Yeah, way too fast. Especially when you consider like stalking behavior, heading to a hardware store to buy a hammer to beat her with. I mean, it's awful. All right, let's play the rest.
Less than 24 hours later, Lilie James was dead. Paul Tyson took his own life in Vaucluse. The painful reality the coroner was told is that we may never know why Lilie was killed, because the only person who can explain what happened is Paul, and he took those secrets with him. Leonie Ryan, 7 News.
Yeah, and the reason we don't know many more details is because after committing this heinous act, he then called Lily's father and told him to go pick her up, which is it's calculating, it's you know, it's just like twisting the knife, isn't it? Like you do one terrible act and you're like, "Hey, let me go and get the father to discover his daughter's body." It's like one final insult to her and her family. And then he took off. He went to a very famous spot in Sydney uh, and jumped off the edge of the cliff into a blowhole. So I think that was Kiama, if I'm correct. I think that was the Kiama, or maybe Ping's getting his uh, locations mixed up. Hold on. Where did they find his body? I know he jumped off the cliff. I just can't remember the actual name of the suburb. Was it Vaucluse? Maybe Vaucluse. No, we don't want this. Yeah, it was. It was Vaucluse. So yeah. Okay, here we go. They mention it here. So not Kiama, although Kiama is another one that people do that with. They say here, Miss James, 21, died when she was beaten with a hammer on the grounds of St Andrew's Cathedral School in Sydney CBD in October 2023 in a crime that shocked the nation. She was killed by her former boyfriend and fellow teacher at the school, who killed himself in Vaucluse in the hours after the act. They say details of how he had stalked Miss James in the days leading up to her death inside the school bathroom. Who's ringing me? Guys, give me a sec. Sorry about that. Random people calling me. Galo says his parents didn't fly over to get him after. Nope. After they located his body, I think he was cremated. And they didn't bother to, you know, take him. The gap. That might be it. Not Koyama. Not Koyama. Okay. Let me see if there was another one here for us. Yeah, it's just, we're starting to hear these details through the coroner's court, and they really are just some of the worst things. Like you hear about that dry run that he did, a practice run. It just shows you how premeditated his offending was. Yeah, Paul stalked Lily. Paul carefully planned his attack, and in the hours before the attack, he rehearsed the attack, making a number of dry runs. The preparation was calculated. It was not a momentary loss of control. So they're trying to demonstrate just how much planning went into it. They say his body was dredged from the water at Vaucluse in Sydney's east and identified a couple of days later. There's a nice photo of Lily, by the way. Galo says his parents, didn't fly over. No, they didn't. Yeah, they did not collect his body. Let's see if I can find that for you. Let's see if we can find that. Here, Paul. Yeah. So we go to Sky News. They say Paul's family to not repatriate body of Dutch national after killing Lily James at St Andrew's Cathedral School in Sydney. So it just shows you there that they had no desire to bring him back home to his homeland. Yeah, they were not wanting having to do anything with him apparently. Weird. Okay. Let's go here. I want to read more about this up here. They say, he had been pictured just moments before he launched his premeditated attack on Lily in a gym bathroom at the school. They said this all started because she had ended her casual 2-month relationship with him 5 days before the attack. And they're just saying never before CCTV also shows Paul waiting outside the bathroom before killing Miss James that evening and buying that hammer. I think that's so creepy, that footage of him right there, just wandering around a hardware store, just like testing out hammers. Like, yeah, this one's a good one. Oh yeah, this one's got a bit of weight to it. Yeah, it's got a great grip on it. Like it's chilling, it really is, knowing that this person is going to go and attack a young woman, all because of a 2-month relationship, even though some of the back history says that he had been infatuated with her for a long time before they were actually together. So he had this romanticized, thing about her for even when he was a student at the school. So Emily Narb says, yeah, creepy, what's going through his mind? I don't know, but he's wearing some ear pods in his ear. Maybe he's listening to music and picking up hammers. I don't know. It's a little weird. It's a little weird. But hey, we'll never know because he has he took all, like they said, took all the secrets to the grave with him. So we'll probably never know. Let me see if I can find a update on. Wanted to see if we could find the update when they did that thing about the body. No, but I can just show you the little video about the inquest opening the other day. If I can bring that up. Yeah, let's go to 7 News on Facebook.
Has started in Sydney. Lily James was killed by her ex-boyfriend Paul Thyssen in the bathroom of St Andrews before he took his own life in Vaucluse in October 2023. The 21-year-old's parents have listened on as the hearing was told their daughter's death was planned and they may never know the answers as to why she was killed. The probe was told the killer had previously stalked another ex-girlfriend and an apprehended violence order had been taken out against him. An inquest into the murder.
Yeah, so there you go. That inquest did open. We're in the sort of early stages of it. And over the next couple of days, we'll probably hear a lot more about it. So he took the coward's way out. He certainly did. Sean says, surely he posted something or text her prior. Maybe we'll find out during the inquest. Yeah, I heard he had stalked other women in the past. Yep. He definitely had this warped sense of ownership over women. So, apparently thinking that that's how you behave or something. I don't know. I can never understand. Yep. Okay. Yeah. All right. There's your update for that. Let's go to America. I watched this story before about people, I can't remember what state it was, but their child had broken into their stash of fentanyl and had eaten a fentanyl tablet and overdosed because the child thought it was candy. And then when they raided the home, they found all this type of Yeah, just all this type of drugs and things like that. Okay, let's go here. No, I don't want to do that. Okay. It was a child case that was on my list, and I was like, I don't want to do that. All right, let's go to Minnesota.
Also developing right now, a Republican state senator arrested in an underage sex sting, now facing a federal charge.
The FBI says Justin Eichhorn tried to pay who he thought was a 17-year-old girl for sex. Fox 9's Mike Manzoni went through those newly released court documents today. And Mike, investigators say Eichhorn thought it was okay to actually meet up with this underage girl.
That 17-year-old girl was actually an undercover Bloomington police detective, and investigators say Eichhorn looked up the age of consent, which is 16 here in Minnesota, and then moved forward with trying to have sex with the girl. But paying a child or trying to pay a child for sex is its own crime, and that is where he ran into some trouble. This is Eichhorn's mugshot taken when they booked him into the Hennepin County Jail last night. Investigators say the 40-year-old lawmaker talked with an undercover detective who posed as a 17-year-old girl over the course of several days. It all started when police posted bogus sex ads online. They say Eichhorn arranged to meet with the detective on Normandale Boulevard in Bloomington on Monday, and that is when they arrested him. Court records show what investigators say is a text exchange between Eichhorn and the undercover officer. In one exchange, which you see here, the officer wrote, "I don't turn 18 till December." They say Eichhorn replied saying, "It says the age of consent is 18. Over 18 is in a position of authority over you, like a teacher or friend's parent." And within the last 90 minutes or so, Governor Tim Walz briefly addressed Eichhorn's arrest when he spoke at a news conference. Here's what he had to say.
I don't think Senator Eichhorn cares much what I say, but yes, I think he should resign. I see Republican leadership came right out and asked the senator to resign as those charges are happening. I've stayed consistent on that when these things have happened. I think when you're in a position of elected office, the bar is higher from you.
And since Eichhorn now faces a federal charge, prosecutors in Hennepin County are dropping their case against him. Lawmakers on both sides are also calling on Eichhorn to resign immediately. In the Live Center, Mike Manzoni, Fox 9.
All right.
You know,
Heather,
and he's
also one of our big stories today south of the metro.
There are whiteout conditions.
there you go. Yeah, so a justice, a Republican senator in Minnesota, charged in federal court with attempting coercion and enticement of a minor. And they said, like you saw in the video, he attempted to solicit from a 17-year-old girl. I mean, crazy. He was arrested in Bloomington on March 17. So, hey, at least wherever they come from, we get the creeps off the street. Yeah, Tim Walz. Yeah. So yeah, he has been charged with solicitation, and he was arrested March 17. They communicated with him, and he thought he was talking to a 17-year-old girl, but it was a detective. Then the detectives arranged to meet with him near the 8300 block of Normandale Boulevard in Bloomington. The man, as identified, was seen in the area in a pickup truck. He was then arrested and booked into jail. Awful crimes. What, like, this is like the second or third judge we've had recently? Guys, give me a sec. Hold on. Sorry about that. People keep ringing my doorbell and then calling my phone like it's a courier. And I went outside, there's no courier. And I was like, what's going on? Who's here at my house? But like, there's no one there. It's a ghost. It's a ghost courier. That's what's going on. Hey, Woman Steel, AOC is gonna. I don't know what that means. Yeah, we're back. Sorry about that. You have to do craft and coloring. It's been one of those weeks. It really has. It's been one of those just interrupted type weeks. It's been up, it's been down, it's been disruptions. Like we go through periods where we have like no disruptions, and then all of a sudden we have a week where it's like I have to stop the show like every 10 minutes. It's really annoying. It's really annoying. Can't we just get through one show this week with no disruptions? Yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen again. Otherwise, I'm going to be very confused. Okay. All right. Let's talk about more about this justice. What has he been charged with? They say, according to the federal criminal complaint, Bloomington police began the undercover operation to target commercial sex involving juveniles. They placed an online ad offering commercial sex. Anyone who reached out would be connected to an undercover officer who would think it was a minor. Police began receiving messages on March 11 from the accused, who said, I saw your post and chant you are still available tonight. Then later, what's a guy got to do to get with the hottest girl online tonight? I don't know, buddy. Probably not talk to underage girls or police. Says here, over the course of their messaging over several days, the undercover officer repeatedly said that she was not 18 but was in fact 17 years old. And I think in this particular state, it's 18. He proceeded to ask the undercover officer about pricing for various sex acts that she might perform. Then he arranged an in-person meeting to pay for those requests. He also requested that the undercover officer, who he thought was a 17-year-old girl, send him a naughty pic, including one with a lot less clothes. Well, you're going to have a lot less clothes when they take all your clothes off you and make you wear prison jumpsuit. They apparently he agreed to meet, but he was met by police and arrested. In his vehicle, police found cash and a condom. There you go. They're the markers of a guilty man. They say, what are they saying? They say the U.S. Attorney's Office has no tolerance for public officials who violate federal law, particularly those laws meant to protect children. According to the U.S. Attorney Lisa D. Kirkpatrick, I am grateful to the Bloomington Police Department, to the FBI, and to all law enforcement officers who use undercover operations to identify and arrest child predators to prevent them from, hurting children. They say the actions alleged in this case are appalling attempt to exploit an innocent and vulnerable minor. The FBI and our partners are committed to protecting children from predators who seek to harm them. Every child deserves to grow up in a safe environment, free from the threat of exploitation. They said if you come to the orange jumpsuit district looking to have sex with someone's child, expect to leave in handcuffs, said Bloomington Police Chief Booker Hodges. We will not tolerate predators in our community. I have long advocated for stronger penalties for these crimes, and this case is yet another example of why tougher laws are necessary. There you go. Tougher laws are necessary. A single condom. Yeah, he's shooting blanks. He's only got one bullet in the gun. He's a bit outgunned. Yeah, far out. I think that's like the third judge or federal employee that we've had since January that's been arrested for this type of thing. The other one was a judge in Pennsylvania. A judge in Pennsylvania was arrested, but he actually committed the acts. Like, so it was a little bit different. I think the judge in Pennsylvania had actually done the things. I can't say them, but done, what you're not supposed to do, what this guy wanted to do. And he'd actually abused relatives of his as well. So, Chris Hansen did that show with Catching Predators. Yeah, until the dude freaking killed himself. Yeah. How dare he? Took away the best show ever. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't come for me. Sean says he has no substance. Nope. He ain't got no baby batter. He all out. He sold out. He sold out. Ain't got no recharge. All right. Let's see what else we have here. What else does Ping have on his list? Yeah, you know, the details for the Koberger thing were very interesting. I know Trish probably went through it with you too, but it was very interesting. We're starting to get a clearer idea, well, somewhat, you know, you gotta be careful how these people frame different things. But it definitely shows you that you know, it's not like what we thought. We thought, oh, they got drunk and they, you know, they just passed out or whatever. But it seems like at least one of them, maybe both of them, were awake earlier in the morning. So I don't know what we're supposed to do with that, but it's pretty crazy because we all thought the timeline was a bit not weird, just probably not what we would do. But again, maybe in that situation, we wouldn't know what we would do. Here, apparently this is the paperwork right here. They say at 4:37 BF accessed Instagram, at 7:30 BF, I think that's Bethany, calls dad, 8 o'clock calls dad, BF calls another number at 8 o'clock, 8:01 she calls home, 8:02 she calls her mom, 8:09 she calls, dad calls her back, and then at 8:05 she sends him a DM on Instagram, and then about 35 minutes later she takes a photo. At 9:04 she texts, mum texts her, so the mum texts her, and then between 10 and 10:01 DM messages incoming and outgoing on Snapchat, and a couple minutes later on Instagram, a couple of minutes after that on Indeed, and it just keeps going up until like about 11:40, and you see this whole thing of different call logs and stuff on the phone. So yeah, she did. Yeah, they had DoorDash. I think they shared it. Is that what, if I'm remembering correctly, they bought something and shared it? Maybe Ping is making things up, which could be true. Yeah, you can see here. BF texts JM, JM texts BF, JM texts BF, you know. So it just shows you that the activity was like there was earlier activity on these cellular phones, which is very interesting. It wasn't like they blacked out at like 4:40 in the morning and then woke up at 11:40 and went, "Oh my god, was that what happened? Let's call the police." Sounds like at least for a couple of hours they were hanging out in a bedroom trying to figure out what was going on. Okay. They shared the one they bought on the street at the cart thing. Yeah, sorry. Woman of Steel said at that age I would have been pooping myself. I would have been terrified. That's what I mean. I think got to be careful how people judge their actions because they're only young. I mean, us 20 years more of experience would all, you know, and true crime knowledge would just be like, call the cops, like 4:31, just call the cops. But it's very different when you're actually in that situation and you saw some sort of like boogeyman in your home wearing a balaclava. I think it's very difficult from the outside to put your own mentality into that moment unless you've actually done it. And as weird as it sounds, maybe this is the way they did, you know, maybe this is the way they communicated. They sort of, their rooms were sort of like their oasis, and they just sort of like texted between each other and just didn't really talk. They just sort of texted, and then when they wanted to go out, they'd meet up and go out. But other than that, it was all like, you know, online, which probably sounds about right, to be honest. Sounds about right for the young kids. Let's go. Yeah, so I'm not going to do a ton on it because I know Trish did a lot on it. But I do want to go to Hawaii. I want to go out to Hawaii. Someone emailed me this, and I don't know a ton about it, but hey. And it's got words that I'm never going to be able to pronounce, but I'll try. They say, police seeking missing woman Vesna Young. They say the Hawaii police, the Hawaii Island police, are seeking the public's help in locating the 51-year-old Vesna Young. They say she was reported missing from the Maloli area in South Kona. They said she was last seen in the 88 to 100 block of Yumi Avenue on Sunday, March 16, 2025 at 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon, wearing a light-colored shirt and shorts. Her unattended vehicle was located near the 88 to 100 block of Kai Avenue around 8:30 p.m. that evening. She's described as Caucasian, 5'7" tall, 165 pounds, with blonde hair and brown eyes. Police are asking anyone with information about Young or her whereabouts to contact the department's non-emergency number at 808-935-3311 and or Detective Joel Ferrudo at Area 2 Criminal Investigation Section. And this is his email. I'll put it in the chat in case you're in the area and you know anything. There you go. That's his email with the police down there. So I can't say I know too much about this lady, and it came from someone emailing me. But here, let me see if I can find anything else. Here, KITV. Do they have anything? Island News. There's a photo of her. No, it looks like they have the same information. So not much more is known. But we do have some people who watch from Hawaii. So if you're in this area, maybe you know her, maybe you saw her on that day, you should use this email and tell them what you know. Try and find out what happened to her. Why is her car just randomly on the same street that she was last seen at, but she's not there? I think that is very strange. So, yeah, do your part, be a good citizen, and help find her. All right, let's see what else I got on my list of things. People always ask me about Emily Pike, but I don't think I have anything really. Yeah, I don't really have anything new for you. I get a lot of emails about Emily, and it is a great story, and it really deserves to find what happened to that young girl. But apparently they did create a task force for her. That's good. Yeah. And we heard about the $75,000 reward last night. Task force created for Emily Pike case. Good. They say, yeah, tell me about the task force. Yeah, here. No suspects or persons of interest have been identified in her case as of Tuesday afternoon, according to the Gila County Sheriff's Office, which is the lead agency in the case. The Sheriff's Office said they have surveillance video that could be helpful, but did not provide details about what the video contained and when and where it might have been taken. The Sheriff's Office announced that multiple agencies joined to form a task force for Emily's case on Monday. The unnamed task force will include the Sheriff's Office, the San Carlos Apache Police Department, the Mesa Police Department, the FBI, and the Bureau of Indian Affairs. That seems like a crack team of the best in Arizona. They say the agencies were working together before the task force was announced. Maybe they just wanted a cool name. They're like, hey, we're working together anyway. Let's just say we're a task force, and then we can get like some sort of cool, abbreviation, some sort of like, shorter version. It might spell out like Lion Team or something. Maybe that's what they wanted. They say the creation of the task force came shortly after the San Carlos Apache tribe announced a $75,000 reward for information leading to an arrest in Emily's case. I hope that they don't need to claim that money in order to get an arrest. But if it helps, that's great. But let's hope. Sorry, guys. There you go. Anything about Sophia? No, I haven't heard anything about Sophia. Not in like about a month, maybe over a month. Let me check the Amber Alert, see if she is still listed. She's still listed on here. There you go. Sophia Franklin, still active in 3 states for her Amber Alert. New photos got released though. Let's have a look. So apparently they put out some new photographs of her. Let's see if we can oh, there we go. So these are 5 new photos. That's a new photo of him, Gary Day. That's an older photo of her. There's the vehicle. This must be the new photo. That one and this one. Yeah, pause that. So that must be the new photo of Sophia. That looks like a Ring doorbell or CCTV, something like that. But apparently they're saying that's what she looks like. Yeah, she will be almost 5 months pregnant now. 5 months in a couple of weeks. She'll be 5 months pregnant. So she's almost just a month or so away from finishing her 2nd trimester. So she's getting well along in her pregnancy. Well along. She needs medical care and she needs a medical checkup, and she needs her prenatal, postnatal. She needs her pregnancy checkups, whatever they're called. Rachel said, I can't believe they haven't found them yet. Someone is hiding them. 100%. Someone is helping them because the car just vanished. The car had been spotted several times and then all of a sudden it just went poof and it just disappeared. No one's seen it in over a month. Nothing. Mama Mia says, nuts how they're staying under the radar. They could be on a farm somewhere or like a rural property where no one would know unless you went there. But that's the new photo we have of the both of them. It's this one and that one's Gary Day right there. Mr. Bowling Ball Head. Mr. Bowling Ball Head. It's very, very sad that we don't have anything else to tell you. Let me see if I do have anything. No. Last we heard, US Marshals could be brought in, but I haven't heard anything else about that, about them bringing in like US Marshals or something like that. It was just something that got brought up a while ago. Here's another version of that photo. There you go. Hold on, guys. All right. 1 second. All right. Woman of Steel, thank you so much for the donation. That really helps. I saw it come through and I just wanted to read it. That definitely helps a lot. She says, thank you for going to and covering this trial. Ping, give Erin, wait, hold on. I want to read all of it. Give Erin a sock for me. I will. I'll give her a sock full of mushrooms. No. Okay. But we'll definitely get some photos from the trial, and we'll definitely be doing a live show every evening with all my notes that I take down in court. So we'll be doing that. But thank you very much. That really does help out. Yeah, it's been a drain. It's been a drain doing all this, but it's going to be worth it in the end, I think. I think anyway. I'm betting on a good outcome for everyone. Like the channel, you guys will get good content. There's some other things happening that I can't talk about, and I think this whole thing is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun for all of you. When you guys hear the announcement that I make, maybe in a couple of months, you guys will be very, very, very excited. But that's all I can say right now. I Hate Morning says she's only 2 weeks away from when a baby born early has a 50-50 chance of surviving an early birth. Really? I didn't know that. Well, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'd say a good thing. She's getting closer to getting, like, the baby. Sean said the killer mushroom isn't Australian. No, it's from Europe. It's from our European brothers. No, that's heaps. I appreciate it. It's very, very kind. The people who do help out it's very appreciative. It's very yeah. It's very, very nice of you. All right. Let me see. Yeah, so like I was saying yesterday, there is some things going on behind the scenes, not with me, but with Aaron. But due to Australian law and the potential for polluting a jury, we can't really report on any of it. It is very interesting, and I feel bad. I feel like I'm teasing you all, but it's nothing like earth shattering. If I thought it was something like that, I would find a way to um like somehow use it in an example and then be like, oh, that's a weird thing. Why would you say that, Ping? But unfortunately, it's not like anything crazy, but there's movement in the background. There's movement trying to get this thing to trial. So they're trying to work out things between the prosecution and the defense and the state. They're trying to work stuff out, and it's like trials in America where, like Koberger, and they're like, oh, we don't want to hear this, and we don't want this in the trial, and like we want to have this stricken from the record, and we don't want the jury to hear X, Y, and Z. That's all the type of stuff that's going on right now with Aaron. There's a lot of that type of thing. In Australia, it's protected, so journalists cannot report on it. And when we get to trial, and as soon as those opening statements are spoken to the jury and the court and the judge, it's game on. It's game on. We can report everything. We can just, I'm sure there's things that you can't, and the judge will be like, hey, this is not to be reported on. That does happen in trials, even in America. But as soon as those opening statements go down, all the journalists are going to be like typing as fast as they can, sending out updates on their phone. It's going to be that's going to be crazy. Gayla says you need a T-shirt with "I survived the mushroom trial." Maybe I'll do that. Maybe we'll do that. We've like I said before, we've had some issues with the original printer that we selected to do the hoodies. So I'm a little gun shy on doing any more type of merchandise right now. I really want to get that figured out and done and dusted, and then maybe we'll do that. I think I might need a different T-shirt. Catatonic says apologies as I'm in listening mode. Hi, hello. Jojo says, Ping, can you Google Maps where Emily was taken from? The area has quite a lot of businesses. Whoever picked her up is on camera for sure. Yes, I can show you from where Emily was taken from. Do you guys want to see that? Yes, I actually know the address. Hold on. Hold on. I have to Google something. 1 second. I think it's this one. Hold on. Yes, it is. Okay. So this is Mesa Drive right here. Now they're saying Mesa Drive and McKillops, which is here. So they're saying over here. The home, and I don't know if this is fully correct, but the records that I could find say the home is all the way down here. This where this red dot is. This is where the share home is. I'm not going to give you the full address, but I'll just show you on a map sort of where it is. But yeah, they said up here, McKillops and Mesa Drive. I don't know if there's, so I heard in the case that they did a couple of years ago, where the two girls were found under the bridge and that they had died from alcohol poisoning and drowning. Those two girls that lived at the home, apparently when it was in the media, the police would say, "Oh, they were last seen sort of over here, like a couple of streets away from the actual child group home." They wouldn't actually say like they were last seen at the group home. So I don't know if that's what they're doing. They've made it like a few blocks away from the property. I don't know. But this is apparently what it is. East McKillop and Mesa. So around here. And that's the share home I showed you is the one I could find that was the closest to these crossroads. But there may be another. There may be another that I can't find. But yeah, it's around here. There is a lot of people around here. A lot. You got a car wash, a truck clinic, a Shell food mart, so a gas station, and a Los Patos Mexican food. So you got a Mexican food store. That's what they were saying. They do have CCTV. It's possible it came from one of these businesses, but who picked her up? That's what I want to know. Who picked her up? Did a car come? Did someone come and get her? BC said, I missed if you mentioned it, Ping, but I heard this is the second body they found at this spot. In Emily's one? Is that... I didn't hear that. Hold on. Yeah, I didn't hear anything about that. Are you saying that there was another teenage girl? Because there was a man found there. Here. Authorities investigating after man found dead in same area as Emily Pike.
Emily Pike's remains were recovered nearly 100 miles away from where she was last seen alive. And tonight we have learned it's not the first time that same area has been the site of a murder investigation. Could the cases be connected? Here's true crime correspondent Brianna Whitney.
We are right off the US 60 at milepost 277. This is where you go to start to get where 14-year-old Emily Pike's remains were found. And you can see here people have been out here bringing flowers, showing signs of support. But now we know in 2021, a native man was found dead right here too, down to the same exact milepost, and confirmed tonight his murder is still unsolved too. I want to show you how close together these two crime scenes are. That's the US 60 behind me. We're now on Forest Service Road 355, and it's here that Gila County Sheriff's officials tell us this is where Emily Pike's remains were found. They tell us the 14-year-old's remains were discovered by people who were walking, hiking on this trail here, and that's who called police. Now we know they were found down here dismembered in contractor trash bags. Her hands and her arms are still missing. It's been more than a month now since they have been discovered. I talked to the Gila County Sheriff's Office today. Their officials and detectives tell me they're making progress in this case, but right now there are still several important unknowns they're trying to figure out.
We don't have a weapon. We've not recovered any kind of weapon. Cause of death is still under investigation by the ME's office. We're investigating those leads. None of those, as of yet, have pointed us to a definite suspect or person of interest.
The cries for justice for Emily have been loud. Several vigils held in honor of the San Carlos Apache teen. The FBI got a call and found a Native man shot to death multiple times in his car. Got a call and found a Native man shot to death multiple times.
Did they say a native man, like the same as Emily? That's weird. I mean, if you told me it was a white guy, I'd be like, somebody died at the same spot. Yeah, sure. But another native person? That's weird. That's almost like a hate crime. It's almost like maybe there's someone in the area that doesn't like Native Americans. That's freaking weird. The other question I have is, where are her arms? Where are her extremities? Why were they not located with the body? And why haven't they been found? I find that very strange too. Like, you understand, like, oh, they dumped it in another location, but we found it and someone reported it. Sure. But the fact that no one's found them is weird.
Times in his car parked right here at milepost 277 off the US 60, just like Emily. Today we learned his murder is unsolved. Here's what we know. Sheriff's deputies identified him as 31-year-old Leo Harry White, a man from White River. He was found by DPS troopers and deputies after somebody called in a welfare check for the car in the pullout area. The detective telling me today there are some leads in his case, but no arrests in his murder either. Officials with the sheriff's office say there is one very key difference between Emily Pike and Leo White's murders.
It is a little different. And in that one, it looks like the homicide actually took place there where the subject was found in a vehicle. This one with Emily, of course, we believe that she was killed somewhere else, and then that is where she was dropped off.
For that reason, and because of differences in the crime scenes, sheriff's deputies don't have any reason to believe these two cases are related, even though they are in the same area and they are both.
Well, it's very strange. Even if they're not related in the end, it's concerning at a minimum. And they're saying that his one is still under investigation and unsolved. I hope Emily's does not take years to get an answer, but it's not very hopeful right now with them being no suspects and no persons of interest. I believe they should release that CCTV. If you've got no leads and if this video is not of evidentiary value, so if this is not going to further the investigation internally, then you should show the public and see if anyone remembers this particular scene happening, like as they're driving past, or were they out there or something. I think they should. Jojo says Veronica Cruz is also missing from that home. Yes, you guys are too fast. You guys
New
are
at
too
10
fast.
as the
I had it lined up here. Yeah, another teen missing from Arizona group home has not been seen in over a year. They saying 17-year-old Veronica Cruz went missing from the home on May 18, 2024, and has been missing since. She was last seen that day around 4:55 p.m., just before 5 o'clock. And a bulletin on the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children website says that she may still be in the Mesa area or have traveled to Casa Grande or Eloy. Mesa PD said group home staff alerted them when Cruz went missing. That particular group home has a very, very bad track record. A very bad track record. They have a lot of young people who have died in that, home. Here's a photo of her. I have a little bit of a photo. It's not a very good photo, but that is the photo on the Missing and Exploited Children website. So that is the about the only photo we have. Yeah, Veronica Cruz. Let me see what else I can find. Let's go here. News 12 had it up here.
New at 10, as the investigation into the murder of 14-year-old Emily Pike continues, we're uncovering more about the Mesa group home where she was living before she was killed. Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. For 12 News at 10, I'm Kariva Devine.
I'm Mark Curtis. Thanks for joining us. Emily Pike went missing from the home in late January, and tonight we're learning another teen from that same group home has been missing now for nearly a year.
12 News journalist Bianca Bono is joining us live from the newsroom to explain. Bianca?
Well, shortly after Pike's remains were found, we learned from Mesa police that they had taken 30 missing persons reports stemming from that same group home over the past 3 years. So we asked if any of those cases remain open today, and we learned that one does. According to the Mesa Police Department, another teenage girl is missing.
Do you remember last week when we read out all those questions and answers that the news had put to the group home? They asked them, was there any outstanding children from that home? And they said no, that they had all been accounted for, and that they'd if they weren't accounted for, but they knew where they were if they did not live at the home currently. Well, that's not true because Veronica is missing. So can we take anything they say as the truth? Are they just covering their own butt? I think so. I think they were trying to, like, wash this over with everyone and be like, if we give them the, what we think they want to hear, then they'll stop asking us questions. That's ridiculous because I remember one of the questions was, have any of those 30 girls, are they still unaccounted for? And they said no, that they knew where all of them were. Well, if you do, tell us where Veronica is located then, because it seems like there's an open police investigation. Do you know information that the PD currently doesn't? Because if so, then you're lying to the PD. BC said, I think some of the 30 were the same child more than once. Right, they did say that oftentimes when they contact the PD, it's for the same child multiple times, that they have a habit of running away. They did say that, yes. But still, Veronica is unaccounted for.
Missing from the same group home where Emily Pike was living before she was murdered and has been missing for close to a year. Emily Pike was last seen in January in the area of McKellips Road and Mesa Drive after leaving the group home. And on Valentine's Day, the 14-year-old girl's remains were discovered in trash bags an hour and a half away in a remote area near Globe. After Pike's horrific death, Mesa police confirmed over the past 3 years, they've taken 30 missing persons reports involving residents of that same group home, and one of those residents remains missing to this day. 17-year-old Veronica Cruz was last seen on May 18th last year around 4:55 p.m., reported missing by group home staff. Her photo and information featured on the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's website. But despite that, when 12 News reached the group home's CEO for comment about Cruz's whereabouts, she said she believes Cruz is safe, though she does not know who Cruz is with or where she is. She added that Cruz turns 18 next month. When 12 News followed up with Mesa Police, asking about the CEO's statement, a police spokesperson said an investigator needs to physically see that Cruz is okay before changing any case status. And due to her age, which is still 17, she would have to be taken to her guardian and not just released. Mesa Police encourages anyone with information about her whereabouts to call them and let them know.
It all sounds a bit too convenient.
And I did follow up with the group home CEO asking if any efforts are being made to get Cruz back into the care of either the home or a guardian. She has not responded to that question. DCS has opened a licensing inquiry to determine whether appropriate steps were taken by that group home in Emily Pike's case. Now, back.
If you ask me, with the amount of tragedies that have occurred in a short period of time with this particular group home company, it sounds like their policies and procedures are not working. You shouldn't have this type of, like, yes, people who go to group homes will often have complex needs and cases and things like that, but you shouldn't have this many tragedies in such a short amount of time. That's very concerning. Like, I lived in a group home for 5 years. I don't think I ever heard of a child dying or never coming back or going on a police, watch list or missing children thing or something. And I lived at about 10 of them, 10 different group homes. And I don't remember that ever happening. So the fact that they've had so many they've had a cluster of them in a short period of time, 4 or 5 years, that is hyper concerning. If you had this like over 25 years, you'd be like, well, that sort of averages out like one every 3 or 4 years. It's not great, but that sounds about right. But the fact that it's only been, uh, you know, 3 to 5 years is very strange. Yeah, I think they need to completely tear that company apart and look at everything from the ground up and find out like where are these lapses coming from and what if anything they could do in the future to make sure this doesn't happen again. I don't really like their answer where they said when children run away, they basically follow them and call the police and just follow them. I was like, that's a weird, like, when you have these close relationships, I know it's a hands off center, but when you have these close relationships, often years in the making, why would you be so like, oh, don't run towards that cliff, Timmy. Don't run towards that road with all the 40-ton trucks or whatever. Like, don't do that. We're on the phone to the PD. Just wait. No, like it seems a bit weird. Don't hop into that car with that strange man. Let me get the tag number so we can trace the vehicle. Oh my god, it's stolen. We'll never see you again. It all seems a bit too, you know, too like it's not our fault.
To the Pike investigation, a task force has now been created consisting of local and federal law enforcement agencies that are investigating her death.
And blah, blah, blah. We already know all that. Nobody's seen Emily leave. No, I know that, but I'm just saying one of their replies to the question was what I demonstrated before. BC said possibly just for the safety of the employees. I know, but it just sort of seems like not caring, even though it might be, but it just, don't hop into that car with that strange 55-year-old man. We're going to call the police. What if they don't get here in time? Oh, little Jenny is now lost to the sex traffickers forever. We'll let the police find her. It just seems all a little too hands off. Maybe they could be a little bit more proactive. Gayla says they say that, but we don't know what the truth is. That's yeah. We'll see. I want to see that CCTV. They say they have some video of Emily shortly after she left the property. I would like to see it. I'd like to see that footage, and I think it should go out to everyone in Arizona. Like, it should be played on the nightly TV, and everyone should see it. So that if you were there that day, maybe you might remember. It might spark something in the investigation where you have no person of interest and no leads. Jojo says following her would have at least been something, is what I mean. Oh, yeah. It's sad to me that nobody noticed until she ended up in a bag on Valentine's Day out near Globe, Arizona. Missing her arms, with no arms. Dismembered is the word we'll use. It's horrific. It really is a horrible crime. I think other than that, there's not too much more on Emily. Yeah, it's hard to do much with it when there's been no suspects, no leads we can follow. But that one about the guy they found there is very interesting. When did they find him? They say like the Gila County Sheriff's Office said they're investigating another murder that happened. Oh, it was like 4 years ago. Okay. September of 2021 is when they found the man at the same location as where they found Emily. It's interesting. Wouldn't it be strange though if these are separate, if these are not related? What's the chances that two murderers know the same location to dump a body? I mean, it has happened. We saw that in the Rex Heuermann investigation. That happened. There was is it Rifkin? Rifkin also dumped bodies where Rex Heuermann dumped bodies, and they initially got them confused, and they thought a Rex Heuermann victim was his victim, and then we didn't find out till 2024, even though she died in, I think it was like the 90s, that it was actually Rex Heuermann's victim, not the other guy. Marylander says, right. Yeah, that's right. All right, hold on. Yeah, it's sad that we don't have anything more on that. Here, I'll bring you, see if I can bring you, come on. I'll see if I get you a better photo of Veronica. That photo is terrible. I don't know why it's so pixelated. Yeah, it's very, like, where'd they get this from? Was there no, I think it's supposed to be that big because it doesn't look pixelated, right? But you put it up to a normal size and it's very, got a lot of pixels. Jojo said, I'd say pretty good because thousands of cars probably pass on it on the way to the reservation. Pretty much nothing around. Yeah, we had a look at it on the map. There's like one road in. There's like nothing out there. It's just desert. It does look like a high school student card. Yeah, it does. April B says, I was wondering if the home had cameras throughout it. It may not have helped Emily, but it would help. I'm not sure. It might. They might at least have cameras on the outside. Maybe not on the inside, but probably on the outside for security and whatever. Gayla says maybe the land has some sort of significance. Maybe. Texas Roadrunner said, how is the road where the body's found straight so you could see cars coming? Let me see if we can go back to it. It's outside of Globe. Yeah, let me see if I can take you out here. It's this highway here, I'm pretty sure. Where is it? It's highway... Is it this one? Highway 60. Yeah. So it's this one here. It is a pretty straight and long road. It has a bit of a bend in it. But as you can see, it turns into 77. I don't know why. But there's the highway. And then what does it do? It comes down through here, goes through town, and splits into 2 different roads. Does it continue? Yeah, it continues out of town and goes this way through a lot of like mining and, stuff like that. Through here, and you go out through here. There's a place called Bloody Tanks out here. So this is the other part of Highway 60. There's not much out here. A giant hole. Look, a hole to the center of the earth. That's what that looks like. Yeah, as you can see, there's not a lot out here. I think it was on the northern one though. If I'm remembering correctly, it's on this one up here, and you can kind of see by the roadside. There's not much. Wait, what mile marker did they say? Hold on. Not this one. Mile marker 277. Guys, let me listen to it for a second. Okay, so it's there. Okay, so it's the road that looks squiggly. All right, where are we going? Up here? I think it might be up here. Judging from the map I just saw, somewhere around here. If you look at the map, it goes in, around, and back out. Okay. In, around, so in, around, and back out. Okay. It should be up here somewhere. Somewhere around here. Mile marker 277. Yep, Highway 60. And it's the Tonto National Forest. That looks about right. Yep, so it goes right there, and there. Yep. I think it should be here. So there's nothing out here. There is a bit of a pull in here though, where cars might pull into here. That maybe that's what they were describing. Right through here, which some of the other places on the road don't have that. Like if you go up a little further, it's nothing there on the side of the road. It's very tight to the road. But if you go down here, there's like this open patch through here. And that sort of looks like the area where they found the body right there. If you ever watched the photo, this sort of looks like the area. Or it could be somewhere like here. But yeah, there you go. So I don't know it's not super straight, but coming out of this bend, you might get a good view north and south of any lights coming if you did it at night. Historical marker. Okay. There you go. Snapcrackle Pop says, hey y'all. Late as normal. BC says, if they're able to track down the guy she wanted to meet up with, that may get some answers. That's right. She wanted to be with a boyfriend or something, or a guy she was interested in. Jojo says, at night, you hardly see another car out there. Well, right there, that is the pull-in. So, Jojo says, Mesa was where she was picked up. Yeah, we had a look at the Mesa crossroad of McKillop and Mesa, and that's out there. Yeah, easily. At nighttime, not a problem. BC said if they're able to track down the guy, yeah, they might be able to. Snapcracker Pop said, them lonely roads brings me an eerie feeling. Yeah. I agree. But she wasn't that close to Globe. Like, Globe's here. And I like when they originally said it, I thought she was I thought she was... Oh, wait, hold on. Ah. Wait, hold on. What does it do? So she's on the second... Okay. So on the second... Okay, so... Sorry, it was the wrong bend. It's right here. Sorry. There's two little bits of road that look very similar. It's this one here. So it's right here, which you can see it has another pull in on the opposite side. And then you're sort of protected behind this tree line. If you were behind here, no one would know. And it does look like a place you could, unfortunately, dump a body. And it goes back pretty far too. You can see tire tracks through here. See? You can see people have been driving through here. All through here. So definitely people come through here at some point. Yeah, sorry. There's actually two little bits that kind of look like the same formation, but it's this one. And I'll show you why. If you look at this map here, nope, don't do that. So it's through here, and she's right there. So if we go out, so through here, yeah, so it's that, and it's that. Okay. So it's that, and it's that. Yep, it's this one here. It's this one right here. So if I zoom out, you'll see the same pattern. So like that and around. And then on that curve. Yeah, I think it has to be up here. Around either this one or... There's nothing further up. I mean, there's a little one there. Yeah, so it's the first big bump, and then it's... Yeah. I'm going to say it's here. The map might be a tiny bit off on the other one, but this looks like a good place. Too much true crime? Yeah. Jojo said the business cameras may have got him, if not the traffic cameras did. Possibly. Like if I take you back to where they say she was last seen out here, there is a lot of homes. Look. There is a lot of property, a lot of businesses. Like there's a truck clinic, there's a spa, there's a Shell, there's a middle school. What's over here? There's a hotel. There's people, apartments. A Sonic drive-through. You can get a good milkshake. What else? A party bus adventure company. A medical center. A FedEx. Like, there's a lot of different things. If this is really the location, I don't know if it is. So, like, I don't know if they just don't want to give away the location of the group home. So they just say, oh, it was sort of, over here. I've seen them do that before. So Jojo says, honestly, whoever left her like that had a million other places she would never be found. In the desert, the options are endless. Well, even out here, like if we zoom out, there's nothing out here. Look, it's just piss all. There's really nothing out there. Look, you could go for miles in whatever direction, and there's really nothing out here. Like, there's probably bodies out here that no one has found yet, for sure. But there's that pull-in where they found her. What is that? I don't know what that is, but it looks odd on the camera. But yeah, so I really do believe if you pulled in here and took your car and then just parked behind here, people driving past wouldn't even see you probably. If you had a decent middle-sized car, no one would even know you were here. If you drove back through here and turned your lights off, no one would even know. So if they were driving up and down the highway, even if there was a car late at night, no one would know you were here. It looks like there's a path through here, according to the map. I don't know what you do with it, but if you zoom out, see, there's a little trail that goes through the back. And then there's another one. If you cross from the highway down here, there's another one that goes north through here. Not sure if these are like fire trails, like for firefighting, but you probably could get up through here. Look, you can see the car tracks on it too. So probably a pretty spooky place at nighttime for sure. Probably pretty weird. Ah, okay. What is it? It's a wildlife watering hole. Okay. Texas Roadrunner said, can also be said for the other unsolved cases. Could have left them anywhere. This is true. Snapcrackle Pop said, lots of places that should have cameras. Hopefully they'll see him and her in the video and he'll be brought to justice. Yeah, we do know that she wanted to meet up with a guy. What we don't know is who that guy is. Yeah, 14 is just a baby. Yep, I agree with you. Just a child. Far too young to be wound up. Well, I think you're never too old, or like, it's wrong all the time. But for a 14-year-old to wind up without her arms, dumped in this region in Arizona it takes a very special type of sick mind to go out here and do that and dump her like she is rubbish. Really does. It's horrific. All right, my ladies and gentlemen, let's wrap this up for tonight. Let's get out of here. It's like 1:30 in the morning. 1:30 in the morning Eastern time. My West Coast people, it's a little earlier. I hope the week is going to settle down soon and we'll be able to get back to some more normality. It's been a little up and down all week. It's been one of those crazy type weeks this week. By the way, I want to thank Woman of Steel again. That was an extremely generous donation, and I really do appreciate it. If you want to donate, if you're listening, even on the replay crew, I'll say your name the next night and read out your message for you. You don't have to be in the live chat. The links are under the video because I get a lot of emails. People are like, "Where's the links?" And I'm like, "They're under the video. Like I put them every night. All you have to do is go to the description." So you don't need to email. You can if you want to, but they're under the video. Yeah, have a great night. We'll be back tomorrow and more cases to talk about. Can we get an update in a case we've been following? Can we get some good news? Can we find one of our missing people? Can we have someone come home? That'd be good. Can we find Sophia Franklin? That would be a great Thursday night. A great Thursday night show would be Sophia Franklin being found. That'd be great. I'd love that. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Hey, have a great night out there. I will, Gayla. I will. Have fun out there. I'll see you tomorrow night. Hopefully, no distractions. No distractions tomorrow night, okay? Love you all. I'll bring you more details from the inquest into Lilie James tomorrow. Yeah, no worries, retired RN. Hopefully he messed up and left something on her remains, on her body. Hopefully. All right, love you all. Good night. Good night from a very rainy Melbourne today. From a very rainy Melbourne. And a little hot. It's a little hot down here today. Bye. Bye-bye. See you later. Bye. Oh, by the way, thanks to Sean. He sent in a donation yesterday. I just saw it. Thanks to Sean and to Woman of Steel. Good night. Bye.